Welcome to another Excel tutorial. In today's video, we're going to explore the power of XLOOKUP. If you're not yet familiar with it, XLOOKUP is a modern Excel function that allows us to retrieve data from a table, quickly and easily. You might be wondering, why not just use VLOOKUP? Well, VLOOKUP works fine for simple tasks, but XLOOKUP far more flexible. Unlike VLOOKUP, which only searches from left to right, XLOOKUP can look in any direction, left, right, up, or down. Plus, it's easier to read and understand once you get used to the structure. So, without further ado, let's get started. We'll begin with a basic example. I want to retrieve the product name, category, and total sales based on the SKU selected in cell J3, which I've set up with a dropdown using data validation. The idea is that whenever we change the SKU in that dropdown, the corresponding information, product name, category, and total sales, should automatically appear in row 6. Let's start by typing the XLOOKUP function. The first argument is the value we want to look for. In this case, the SKU selected in cell J3. I'll select that cell and press F4 to lock the reference, so it stays fixed when I drag the formula across. The second parameter is the lookup array. This is where Excel will search for that SKU. In our case, the SKUs are in column C, so I'll select column C and lock it again with F4. Next is the return array. This is what we want Excel to bring back. Since we want the product name first, I'll select column D. After that, we can define what should appear if the SKU isn't found. I'll simply type "not found" in quotation marks. For the match mode, we'll use 0, which tells Excel to look for an exact match. As for the search mode, we can skip it this time. Because our SKUs are unique, we don't need to worry about whether Excel searches from top to bottom or the other way around. Now I'll close the parentheses and drag the formula across. As you can see, we successfully retrieved the product name and category. However, the total sales column is showing the price instead. That's because our formula isn't fully dynamic yet. We manually pointed it to column F, but total sales are actually in column H. Let's fix that by clicking into cell L6, updating the return array to point to column H, and pressing Enter. There we go. Now we have the correct data. In the next part of the video, we'll take it one step further and create a dynamic XLOOKUP. This version is a bit more advanced, as it requires combining XLOOKUP with functions like index and match. If you're not yet comfortable with those functions, I recommend checking out my separate video on index and match first. I explain everything there step by step. But if you're ready, let's move on. Now for the dynamic version of our XLOOKUP formula. The first part stays exactly the same. The lookup value is still located in cell J3, and the lookup array remains in column C. The key difference here is the return array. Instead of manually selecting it, we'll make it dynamic so it adjusts based on the column we want to retrieve. To do that, we'll use the index and match functions. Let's begin by typing index. The first argument for index is the entire array that contains our data. I'll select the full table, from column A to column H, and lock it with F4 so the reference doesn't shift when we copy the formula across. Next comes the row number. But since we want the row to stay the same as what XLOOKUP is already finding, we'll leave this argument empty. Now for the third parameter, the column number, we'll use the match function to determine which column to pull from. So we type match. The first argument is the lookup value. This is the column name we want to retrieve, and it's located in cell J10. I'll lock just the row by pressing F4 twice. Then for the lookup array, I'll select all the headers in the table, the top row from columns A to H, and lock it completely with F4. Finally, for match type, we want an exact match, so I'll enter 0 and close the parentheses. We'll skip the optional arguments in both index and match, since they're not needed here. And we know they're optional because Excel shows them inside square brackets. And that's it. We now have a fully dynamic return array inside XLOOKUP. The column returned will change based on whatever is selected in cell J10. Now let's move on to the next part of our video, where we'll learn how to use XLOOKUP with two conditions. This time, we're working with a different set of data, and our goal is to retrieve the order ID, but only when two conditions are met. First, the material must be material 98, and second, the destination must be Chicago. To do this, we'll use the XLOOKUP function, and I'll show you two different methods to apply these conditions. The first one is through concatenation, and the second uses a multiplication logic for Boolean conditions. Let's begin with the concatenation method, which is more visual and straightforward. In your formula bar, type XLOOKUP. And for the lookup value, since we're working with two conditions, we'll combine them into one. So click on cell G2, which holds the material value, and press F4 to lock it. Now type an ampersand, which is Excel's way to concatenate, and then click on cell I2, which holds the destination. Press F4 again to lock it as well. This combination of values will act as a unique lookup key. For the lookup array, we'll do the same thing. Go to column B, which contains the materials, and lock it. Add the ampersand and then select column C, which holds the destinations, and lock that too. What we're doing here is telling Excel to treat the material and destination as one combined value, so we can match them together. Next, we move to the return array. This is the value we want to retrieve once a match is found. In our case, we want the order ID, which is located in column A. Select it and lock it as well. Now for the if not found argument, we'll type a custom message. Between quotation marks, write, "Conditions don't exist." This will be displayed in case there's no match. After that, we specify the match mode. Since we want an exact match, type 0. Then close the parenthesis and press enter. And there you have it, the correct order ID based on both conditions. Now let's move to the second method, which is less intuitive, but extremely useful when you're working with mixed data types like numbers and text. This approach is based on Boolean logic, and it works especially well for advanced lookups. Let's start again by typing XLOOKUP, but this time, for the lookup value, we'll use the number 1. Why 1? Because in this method, we're creating a Boolean array that returns true or false, and true is treated as 1 in Excel. So we're looking for the first value where the condition is true. Now in the lookup array, we'll write our condition inside parentheses. First, we'll check whether the value in cell G2 is equal to the value in column B. Make sure to lock both references. Then we'll type an asterisk, which acts like an AND operator in this context. Next, check if the value in cell I2 is equal to the value in column C. And again, lock both. What we've done here is create a condition that must satisfy both criteria. Material equals material 98, and destination equals Chicago. Wherever this condition is true, the result is 1. Then, just like in the first method, for the return array, we select column A and lock it. For the if not found message, type doesn't exist in quotation marks, and for the match mode, enter 0 for exact match. Close the parenthesis and press enter. And just like that, you get the same result. The correct order ID based on both conditions. Now you've mastered two powerful ways to use XLOOKUP with multiple criteria. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tutorials just like this one. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.